In the northern part of the city stood an old museum that no one visited anymore. Years ago, it had closed for restoration and never reopened. Only a single night guard patrolled its corridors. The building was cold, silent, and thick with dust. Cracked walls stretched toward the ceiling, cobwebs hung from beams, and the faint smell of old wood lingered. Even in daylight, the place felt heavy. At night, it became a completely different world. Shadows crawling along walls and floors as if alive. The cameras were old, mostly black and white, flickering with static, occasionally losing the image completely. Monitors hummed softly, a low sound that pressed against the ears, echoing across the empty rooms. Every night at 9, the guard signed the log and entered the security room. A thermos of coffee, a small radio, and the pale light from the monitors were the only companions. Silence seemed almost physical, wrapping around every corner. Time moved slowly, each second stretching longer than the last. Outside, the wind rattled the windows, pushing the loose panes and thin metallic groans. The guard sipped coffee and checked each camera carefully. The north wing was empty, the exhibition hall deserted, and the basement dark and still. But then the south corridor caught attention. On the screen, a shadow moved. At first, it appeared to be a trick of the light. Then it became clear. A figure stood there, tall, thin, still, right in front of the wall. The guard reached for the radio, calling the cleaning staff, but only static answered. Adjusting the frequency, trying again, nothing changed. A few seconds of silence stretched too long. The flashlight was picked up, its beam cutting through the dark as the door creaked open. Footsteps echoed along the old wooden floorboards. The walls were lined with cracked paintings and statues, their eyes seeming to follow each movement. Dust lay thick on the ground, making each step visible. The south corridor approached, heart pounding, every instinct telling to run or stop. Footprints appeared, fresh in the thick dust, human-like yet oddly shaped, stretching longer than any normal foot could. Stopping, the guard glanced back. Nothing moved. Still, a sensation pressed against the neck, like a cold breath brushing the skin. Spinning around, only shadows met the eyes. At the wall, something shifted. The figure returned, taller, stretching unnaturally. The flashlight flickered, then went out. Striking it to turn it back on, the figure had vanished. Silence reclaimed the corridor. From somewhere deep in the basement came a scraping noise, a dragging sound, then the faint tinkle of metal. The guard moved toward the stairs, each step creaking and echoing like a warning. Reaching the basement door, slightly ajar, damp air escaped in a whisper. Inside, shelves held old statue heads, dusty crates, and yellowed sheets. On the floor, a fallen camera tripod lay beside a recorder with a cut wire. The guard picked up the recorder. A tape, half ejected, was labeled 1998. The museum had closed that year. Glancing into the corner, movement caught the light. A thin shadow, humanoid but elongated, drifted along the wall. Suddenly, a door slammed somewhere, making the floor shiver beneath the feet. Back in the security room, monitors flickered. The south corridor screen lit up. The figure returned. Standing still, facing the camera. But something had changed. It appeared in multiple places at once, shifting angles. Stairs, entrance, halls, always the same empty, impossible form. The face became visible on the monitor. No eyes, Nothing but smooth skin stretched across where features should have been. No nose, no mouth, only emptiness staring through the screen. Static rose across all monitors. The figure edged closer on the south corridor feed. Footsteps made no sound, yet the beam of the flashlight shook in the hand. The light cut out, returning seconds later to reveal the figure at the corner, unmoving but present. Heartbeat thundered. The figure stepped closer, each move deliberate. The flashlight flickered, then died. A cold weight brushed the shoulder. No sound, no scream. The touch lifted as suddenly as it came. The corridor remained empty. The shadow vanished. The door at the end of the hall was open. Hesitating, the guard backed into the security room, monitors coming back to life. One displayed the basement. Still, the figure lingered, silent, facing the camera. The recorder was pressed to play. A muffled voice spoke, words unclear, followed by a scream, then silence. Static hissed like breathing. Suddenly the tape warped, whispers filling the room, bouncing off walls, buttons jammed. The sound climbed, filling every inch of the room. One monitor flickered to life, basement view. The camera panned to the wall. There, a shadow formed, stretching and unnatural. The hand pressed the power switch. Lights went out, darkness swallowing the room. Silence returned, broken only by wind outside. Morning came. Museum doors opened for staff. Inside, the security desk lay overturned, monitors on but empty. A tape rested on the desk. Faded letters read, "Eyes." The new guard opened the logbook. The previous signature remained. No checkout time noted. The south corridor camera sometimes turned on by itself. Nothing appeared. Only a shadow along the wall, and sometimes in the dark, the face without eyes, staring.